48 hours ago, Donald Trump posted an ultimatum that could trigger the most dangerous escalation of the Iran war yet. Posted Saturday night at 11:44 p.m. GMT from his Florida estate, the message was written in all capital letters. If Iran doesn't fully open without threat the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours from this exact point in time, the United States of America will hit and obliterate their various power plants, starting with the biggest one first. The countdown is now running. Monday night, the deadline hits, and Iran just made it clear they will not comply. This is not a bluff. U.S. Ambassador to the UN Mike Waltz told Fox News Sunday morning that Trump will start by attacking and destroying one of Iran's largest power plants if the strait is not reopened. Gas-fired thermal plants, other types of infrastructures, specific targets are being prepared. The question is not whether Trump means it. The question is what happens when Iran refuses and the strikes begin. But before we break down the catastrophic spiral this ultimatum just triggered, if you value coverage that connects the dots Washington hopes you miss, hit that subscribe button and drop a like so you never miss analysis like this. Now let's understand what makes this ultimatum so reckless. Just 24 hours before issuing the threat, Trump told reporters he was considering winding down the war without resolving Hormuz. He floated the possibility of walking away. He suggested maybe the strait would reopen itself. That was Friday afternoon. By Saturday night, he reversed completely and issued the most aggressive threat of the entire war. What changed in 24 hours? Gas prices. Political pressure. The realization that he cannot end this war without reopening Hormuz, and he cannot reopen Hormuz without either forcing Iran to back down or escalating beyond anything tried so far. So he chose escalation. The Strait of Hormuz carries 20% of the world's oil supply. Iran closed it on day one of the war and has kept it shut ever since. Tankers fear Iranian missiles. Shipping has ground to a halt. Oil hit $112 per barrel. Gas reached 3.94 cents per gallon, up more than $1 in a month. Trump lifted sanctions on Iranian oil. He tapped the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. He asked NATO allies to provide warships for convoy escort duty. Every single ally refused. Germany said it is not their war. The UK will not be drawn into wider conflict. Japan cited legal constraints. Nobody is coming to help, and Iran is not budging. So Trump issued an ultimatum: 48 hours or your power plants get obliterated. And Iran responded within hours with a series of threats that make it clear this will not end the way Trump expects. Iran's Armed Forces headquarters issued a statement: if the U.S. attacks Iranian power plants, the Strait of Hormuz will be completely closed, and it will not reopen until destroyed power plants are rebuilt. Think about that for a moment. Trump's threat is designed to force the strait open. Iran's response guarantees it stays shut longer if he follows through. The Iranian military went further. All energy infrastructure belonging to the United States in the region will be targeted. All Israeli energy and communications infrastructure will be targeted. Power plants in regional countries hosting U.S. bases will become legitimate targets. That means Saudi Arabia. That means UAE. That means Qatar. That means Bahrain. Iran just told every American ally in the Gulf that if Trump bombs Iranian power plants, their infrastructure becomes fair game. Iran's parliament speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf posted his own warning. Vital infrastructure and energy and oil infrastructure across the Middle East could be irreversibly destroyed if Iranian facilities are hit. He said the retaliation would increase oil prices for a while. That is diplomatic language for we will burn down every energy facility we can reach, and oil will go to $200 per barrel. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian posted a message clearly aimed at Trump. The illusion of erasing Iran from the map shows desperation against the will of a history-making nation. Threats and terror only strengthen our unity. The Strait of Hormuz is open to all except those who violate our soil. We firmly confront delirious threats on the battlefield. Not one word suggested Iran would comply. Not one hint of backing down. Just defiance and warnings of consequences Trump clearly did not anticipate. And then to prove they mean it, Iran launched one of the deadliest attacks of the war. Saturday night, hours after Trump's ultimatum, Iranian missiles slammed into Dimona and Arad in southern Israel. Dimona sits 13 kilometers from Israel's nuclear reactor. The strikes injured over 100 people, including 11 seriously wounded. Children aged 5 and 12 were among the casualties. One missile destroyed a building housing an after-school program. Another left a massive crater in Arad where 74 people were injured. It was the highest number of injuries from a single attack since the war began. Netanyahu called it a blatant war crime. Iran claimed they targeted military installations in response to strikes on Natanz nuclear facility. This is the situation Trump created. He issued an ultimatum that cannot succeed. Iran will not comply because compliance means surrender. If they reopen Hormuz under threat, they lose all leverage. The Strait is the only card keeping oil prices high and Washington under economic pressure. Give that up and Iran has nothing left to bargain with except the ability to absorb more bombs. So they will not reopen it. Which means Trump must either back down from his own deadline or follow through and bomb power plants. If he backs down, he looks weak after issuing a public 48-hour countdown. Every future threat becomes less credible. Allies will question whether he means what he says. Iran will know they can call his bluff. If he follows through, Iran executes the threats they just announced. Hormuz stays closed indefinitely. Regional energy infrastructure gets targeted. Oil spikes even higher. American allies in the Gulf face attacks on their own power plants for hosting U.S. bases. The war expands into the catastrophic regional conflict everyone feared from the start. And here is the part that makes this truly dangerous. Trump has no way to force Hormuz open militarily without triggering exactly that expansion. You cannot escort tankers through a waterway when the country controlling it fires anti-ship missiles at anything that moves. The U.S. bombed Iranian coastal missile sites earlier this week with 5,000-pound bunker busters. Central Command claimed they degraded Iran's ability to attack vessels. But Iran still has mobile launchers. They still have drones. They still have small, fast attack boats. Even with degraded capability, they can make the Strait too dangerous for commercial shipping. The only way to truly secure it is boots on the ground controlling both coastlines. That means invading Iran. That means tens of thousands of troops. That means casualties that dwarf anything seen so far. That means a war that could last years. Trump does not have the political capital for that. He does not have the public support. He does not have the military capacity while already stretched thin. So he issued a threat he cannot enforce, hoping Iran would fold. Iran did not fold. Instead, they called the bluff and raised the stakes. Now Trump faces a choice with no good options. Bomb the power plants and trigger regional energy catastrophe. Back down and look impotent, or find some face-saving compromise that lets both sides claim victory while changing nothing. The problem is Iran has no incentive to offer that compromise. They are winning the economic war. Oil prices hurt America more than sanctions hurt Iran. Every week Hormuz stays closed, Trump's political position weakens. Midterm elections are 8 months away. Gas at $4 per gallon in August would be devastating. Iran knows this. They can wait. Trump cannot, so he issued an ultimatum with a 48-hour deadline, thinking pressure would force capitulation. But pressure works both ways. And right now, the economic pressure is entirely on Washington. Ambassador Mike Waltz was asked if targeting energy infrastructure could be a war crime. He deflected. The answer is yes. Deliberately destroying civilian power infrastructure can be a war crime. Power plants serve hospitals, water treatment, homes, schools. Obliterating them is collective punishment. Trump threatened it in all caps with a 48-hour countdown. The UN nuclear watchdog called for restraint to avoid nuclear accidents after Natanz strikes. Destroying power plants near reactors is precisely the reckless escalation they warned against. Here is what happens next. The deadline hits Monday night. Iran will not comply. Trump will either strike or he will not. If he strikes, oil goes higher, the region explodes, and Hormuz stays closed longer. If he does not strike, the ultimatum becomes a humiliation and every future threat rings hollow. Either way, Trump loses. He backed himself into a corner by issuing a public deadline he cannot enforce. And Iran, reading the same political calendar everyone else can see, knows they just have to wait him out. 2 days ago, Trump thought an ultimatum would break the stalemate. 2 days from now, he will learn that ultimatums only work when you hold leverage. And right now, with NATO refusing to help, allies terrified of escalation, and oil markets pricing in disaster, Iran holds all the leverage. Trump wanted to force the Strait open. He may have just guaranteed it stays closed until his presidency ends. If this analysis opened your eyes to the strategic trap Trump just walked into, smash that like button, share this with someone who needs to understand what is really at stake, and subscribe so you do not miss what happens when the countdown hits 0.